Hello everyone. In continuation of the homeostasis series, here I am going to talk feedback mechanism. The homeostasis regulation is mainly achieved through the feedback mechanism. There are two types of feedback mechanism. One is negative feedback mechanism and the second one is positive feedback mechanism. First, I am going to talk negative feedback mechanism. Most control system of the body act by the negative feedback mechanism. When any extracellular fluid constituents is increase or decrease from the normal range, the negative feedback mechanism triggers the process that returns towards normal range. The negative feedback mechanism has three components: sensor, control center, and effector. Here, this sensor contains receptor that monitor any changes in the environment of the body and send signal to the control center. Here in this picture, you can see the example of blood pressure regulation. The baroreceptor are present in the wall of the carotid sinus and aortic arch. These two receptors detect change in pressure in their lumen. The sensor carotid sinus sends signal to the brain or control center through the glossopharyngeal nerve, and the aortic arch sends signal to the brain or control center through the vagus nerve. Then the control center, this control center located in the central nervous system, especially in the brain. This control center receives signal from the sensor and initiate command signal. Here in this picture, the control center for the regulation of blood pressure is mainly located in the pons and medulla. It is vasomotor center. Then the effector. The effector is the target organ that follow the command signal of the control center to bring the nearly constant condition in the body. Here in this picture, the blood vessel and the heart are the effector organ for the regulation of blood pressure. Nerve impulse to the blood vessel from the control center causes dilatation or constriction of the blood vessel. Like that, impulse to the heart causes decrease or increase in the heart pumping activity. When there is high blood pressure in the aortic region of the arteries, the baroreceptor sends signal to the brain. Here, this impulse causes inhibit the vasomotor center, which in turn causes decrease the number of impulse transmitted through the sympathetic nerve to the blood vessel and heart. This causes dilatation of the blood vessel and decrease in the pumping activity of the heart. Both of these effects decrease the arterial blood pressure. Like that, decrease in blood pressure in the aortic region of the arteries sends signal to the brain, which causes stimulation of the vasomotor center. Then increase the number of impulse transmitted through the sympathetic nerve to the blood vessel and heart. This effect causes constriction of the blood vessel and increase the pumping activity of the heart. These two effects causes increase in the blood pressure. Here in this picture, this is the another example of negative feedback mechanism, that is regulation of thyroid hormone. Here, this is the pituitary gland. The anterior pituitary gland secrete TSH or thyroid stimulating hormone into the bloodstream. Here, this is the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland secrete thyroid hormone T3, T4 into the bloodstream. The TSH or thyroid stimulating hormone stimulate the thyroid gland to release the thyroid hormone T3, T4 into the bloodstream. When the thyroid gland secrete high concentration of thyroid hormone into the bloodstream, the negative feedback mechanism sends signal to the pituitary gland to decrease the secretion of TSH or thyroid stimulating hormone that re-establish the normal range of thyroid hormone in the body. At the end of negative feedback mechanism, here one can ask the question, is negative feedback mechanism can provide 100% effective to re-establish the normal range of constituents in the internal environment of the body? Let me explain the gain of a control system. So we may get the answer at the end. Here in this picture, a large volume of blood is transfused into a person whose baroreceptor control system is not functioning. The arterial pressure rises from 100 mmHg to 175 mmHg. Then the same volume of blood is transfused into the same person when the baroreceptor system is functioning. The arterial pressure rises to 125 mmHg from 100 mmHg. Then we have to calculate the correction of the control system. It is the blood pressure of the functioning baroreceptor, that is 125 mmHg, minus blood pressure of the non-functioning baroreceptor, that is 175 mmHg. Then we found the correction of the control system minus 50 mmHg. The arterial pressure of functioning baroreceptor rises from 100 mmHg to 125 mmHg. So the error is 25 mmHg. Then gain of the control system, correction divided by error. Correction is minus 50 mmHg and error is 25 mmHg. Then finally we got the gain minus 2, which means that the control system is not 100% effective because the gain of the control system is less, which is minus 2. If the gain were higher, then the system were more efficient. Now here I am going to talk positive feedback mechanism. The feedback that increase the further output of a system is known as positive feedback mechanism. This positive feedback mechanism does not operate to provide homeostasis in the body. It is harmful and in some cases may cause death due to positive feedback mechanism. So this positive feedback mechanism is better known as a vicious cycle. Here one can ask the question, how does this positive feedback mechanism become vicious cycle? Let's see the example. A healthy human heart pumps 5 liters blood per minute in the general circulation of the body. If a person got an accident and bleed 2 liters blood, then the amount of blood in the body is decreased to such a low level that not enough blood is available for the heart to pump effectively in the body. Then the blood supply to the heart by the coronary artery is decreased. This causes weakening of the heart and heart pumping further decrease. Again, blood supply to the heart by the coronary artery is decreased. Again, weakening of the heart and heart pumping further is decreased. This cycle repeat itself again and again until death of the person. But a mild degree of positive feedback can be overcome by the negative feedback. How it initiate in the body? If the person got an accident and bleed 1 liter instead of 2 liters, the negative feedback mechanism for controlling cardiac output can counterbalance positive feedback mechanism. So the person can recover in this case. Now I am going to talk some useful positive feedback mechanism. Here the blood clotting mechanism is a positive feedback mechanism that the body uses for its advantage. Here, this is the blood vessel in which different blood cell like WBC, RBC, platelets, and different substances are present in the blood vessel. If there is a cut or an injury in the blood vessel that causes bleeding from the blood vessel, then The platelets and multiple enzymes called clotting factors that are present in the blood vessel are get activated and also activate the adjacent platelets and clotting factors. This process continue until the cord is clogged and no longer bleeding is there. Then childbirth mechanism is a valuable, useful positive feedback mechanism. Here, this is the baby present in the uterus of the mother. This is the brain and this is the pituitary gland. The posterior pituitary gland secrete oxytocin into the bloodstream. Before delivery of the baby, there is contraction of the uterus that causes stretching of the cervix by head of the baby. Then impulse from the uterus sent to the posterior pituitary gland. Then the posterior pituitary gland secrete oxytocin and this oxytocin causes strong contraction of the uterus which causes again stretching of the cervix by the head of the baby and again send signal from the uterus to the posterior pituitary gland. Then posterior pituitary gland again secrete oxytocin. Then oxytocin causes again strong contraction of the uterus. When this process becomes powerful enough, the baby is born. The nerve impulse generation is another useful positive feedback mechanism. Here, this is the nerve cell and this is the segment of a nerve cell. Here, these are the sodium channel in which sodium enter into the nerve cell. The stimulation of the nerve fiber causes slight leakage of sodium ion through the sodium channel. Entry of sodium into the nerve cell causes change in membrane potential. Then change in membrane potential inside the nerve fiber causes more opening of the sodium channel. This causes more change in membrane potential, again more opening of the sodium channel. This process continue until the nerve signal reach at the end of the nerve fiber. I have talked in previous pictures. Okay, in this picture, the positive feedback mechanism is a harmful and it is a vicious cycle. Now here, one can ask the question, if the positive feedback is a vicious cycle, then how the positive feedback will be useful in some cases? In which cases the positive feedback is useful? That is the part of a negative feedback mechanism. For the example, you can see in this picture, in the case of blood clotting mechanism, the positive feedback clotting process is the negative feedback process for the maintenance of normal blood volume in the body. Then, adaptive control of the body. Some movement of the body occurs so rapidly that there is not enough time for nerve signal from the hand of the muscle to the brain and from the brain to the hand again to control the movement of the hand muscle. So in this case, the brain uses a principle called feed-forward control for the required muscle contraction. The sensory nerve signal of the hand asks the brain whether the movement is performed correctly or not. If not, then the brain corrects the feed-forward signal that it sent to the hand next time. If still further correction is necessary, this process will perform again and again until the movement is performed correctly. This process is called adaptive control. This adaptive control is a delay negative feedback mechanism.